Hey, what the hell's going on, you guys? This is Player Negative AE, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry. We were just getting into some shit, so let's read what's going on. It penetrates the spinal cord through the blood and lymphatic fluid, then through the cerebral fluid, then reaches the brain. Talking about the Hinamizawa syndrome that we've heard so much about. I've confirmed many cases of encephalitis after autopsies. What is that word? Osinophilic? What? And then the next word, osinophilic. Oh my god! Who made that word? Who made that word and said it was okay? Who came up with that word? Someone had to have come up with that word and been like, "That's a word. Like that's an okay word to do." Many cephalitis is also caused by eelworms. What the fuck is that word? I cannot get over that word. That is the weirdest word I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry. I'm freaking out. There are over 100 million 4 million jars with parts of brains in them. They're all very dusty, so I spent a few days cleaning them. So I'm rather proud to see the sparking jars all lined up. However, the symptom of the eelworms are multi-branched. A headache, narcosis, a derangement. There aren't any specific symptoms. On the other hand, symptoms of Hinamizawa syndrome are very characteristic. So you're saying one of them is to rip open one's throat, right? Exactly. Some soldiers witnessed it just before their fellow soldier died. Such self-mutilation was never seen before in any disease. It's only in the Hinamizawa syndrome. Also, that symptom was only seen with the terminal phase patients. I think that's an exodus, like diseases caused by some parasites. Parasites mature inside of a human body and reproduce, then leave the host looking for the next host. So, what do you think about the fact that the cases were only with the soldiers from Hinamizawa, even though the soldiers touched their blood, which is full of parasite eggs and larvae? Don't you think there's a possibility of them getting infected? I suspected things like an incubation period, but since it was limited to the area of Hinamizawa, I think the unique local weather has something to do with it. I'll talk about that in the next chapter, but the old belief of Hinamizawa has... It can't be possible, Dr. Takano. I've never heard of parasites behaving socially. No, I mean, that is one of the revolutionary discoveries of the Hinamizawa syndrome. The elderly gentlemen begin to mumble at each other while pointing at the data. I finally realized that things aren't going too well. We just reviewed your data. First of all, it is simply impossible for parasites to control human minds. Human thoughts are controlled by the brain, which is a work of art. What the fuck? Created by God. Humans are the only human beings that have thoughts on this earth. What? So you're saying the parasites that tamper with that... Please, that's absurd. Who are these people that he's talking to now? I'm curious. I feel like he should be talking to scientists, not people that... I don't know. It's odd. Okay, I agree. Thoughts allow one to think about a group rather than an individual. In other words, that is the most important prerequisite condition for a society. Parasites can't just do that. And even biologically speaking, there is no precedent for parasites behaving socially. But there are cases of parasites interfering with the host behavior. You're misunderstanding one thing, Dr. Takano. The principle of parasites interfering with the host behavior is based on the primitive idea of reproduction. Just like the example you used before, a rat infected with toxoplasma losing its natural instinct to run from a cat is simply part of the process of switching hosts. That's like a grasshopper infected with a horsehair worm drowning itself. Once a horsehair worm matures, it becomes aquatic. When that happens, it guides the grasshopper to the water and drowns it, then it enters the water. Exactly. That's the Hinamizawa syndrome's suicidal symptom of ripping one's own throat. For example, guinea bugs get out of the body by having the host scratch the affected area. That's right. The purpose of all the parasites is reproduction. For them to infest a human brain, well, to infest a human brain is one thing, but to affect human thoughts, that's absurd. In fact, that's a dangerous idea. I don't think it's strange that Hinamizawa created its own belief system. There are actually many cases like that all over Japan. So you're saying all of them were due to parasites? They were all due to cultural reasons, except the one in Hinamizawa, which was caused by parasites. How did you prove that? No. I already said, from the results of the autopsies I performed on Hinamizawa's soldiers, I concluded many. Excuse me, Dr. Takano. I don't think you've gathered enough case studies to call it clinical data. Furthermore, as you said, it was during the war. No, I mean, as I explained in the next chapter, the Hinamizawa syndrome develops when one experiences suspicion, nervousness, and stress, and becomes emotionally unbalanced. If there are more than a few cases of such self-mutilation incidents, then maybe it would be prudent to suspect some kind of commonality. But that's not why it's accountable. Maybe it was just a coincidence that such rare cases happened under abnormal circumstances like war. Dr. Takano, you may have seen such a coincidence and mistakenly assumed that there was a correlation. To prove that's wrong, you would need an enormous amount of clinical pathology data of Hinamizawa syndrome patients. But ethically, that's impossible. Native explained things as a curse, but it's more likely a kind of cultural bond reactive syndrome. And you think that it is a parasitic delusional disease. I hate to say this, but I think you admire the belief of the Hinamizawa too much, and as a result, you yourself has been taken in by the cultural bound reactive syndrome. Actually, that happens quite often with people who research things in mysterious fields. We were trying to be careful ourselves. Grandfather's face is gradually becoming pale. Stunned. We've never heard of parasites like that. It was just a coincidence that there isn't enough data. The talk goes on and on. Every time Grandfather says something, they dismiss it. All he can do is be silent. They don't sound like very scientific people. However, no discovery is accepted at first. But I guess, I don't know. I don't know how scientists... I don't have scientist friends. So, I don't know. Maybe scientists are very set in their ways. Especially in Japan, I guess. I don't know. I think this research of yours is one of those. Even if it was ridiculed at first, it may be acknowledged in later years. That happens all the time. I'm just an amateur. I'm just a private researcher who didn't graduate from an elite college, nor do I belong to any academic clique. Of course I don't have any connections with experts or research centers. That's why this is all I can do. Is the Hinamizawa syndrome real, or just my delusion? Just like you all say, to find out, I need your help. Yeah, see? I agree with that. Of course, if this was the discovery of the century, it would create major sensation. After all, it says parasites can control human culture as well as human thoughts. The frontal lobe of the brain is simply a place for parasites to live. If a link between the existence of Hinamizawa syndrome and the infected people's belief in Oishiro-sama could be established, then it would be possible to explain all the religions. No, all the cultures and boundaries on Earth. That is a magnificent and unique idea. Dr. Takano, you should publish your idea so the general public can read about it instead of having us read it quietly. Grandfather is looking down and his fists are trembling a little. This is too cruel. I don't know anything academically. I'm just a little girl. I don't know exactly what they're talking about. Grandfather worked so hard by himself until today. To further his research, he needs sponsors. Yet they are saying his research is simply a delusion. That is an absurdity. Just like the question of which came first, the chicken or the egg. Besides, if his research hadn't reached the level of those cheeky men want, he wouldn't need their help. They're saying they can't help unless they see some private results that are beyond the level of private research. In any field, doesn't research just start out with a little idea? If you can prove its existence before you research about it, what's the point of researching it? I agree. If a wild idea can't be the subject of the research, how did knowledge make such progress? But never mind that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like scientists have to have an open mind. I don't know. When Mr. Koizumi came in 2 weeks ago, he didn't say they were showing strong interest, or didn't he say they were showing strong interest in his research? What's going on here? This is the complete opposite of what he said. Yes. I think this is a very interesting research. The human brain still holds many secrets. Dr. Takano's article is extremely unique, especially from the eugenic point of view. I don't think we should ignore this. Humans are not God's children. Humans are simply baptized animals. According to Darwin, each environment has an effect on the progress of evolution. In other words, humans can be either superior or inferior. As a nation, we must think about how we can keep good bloodlines and how we can leave good genes behind. We have to research that as a national policy, otherwise humans will receive a fatal ranking order in the coming century. Dr. Takano's research has the potential of reaching beyond parasitic diseases. If it's possible to prove that crime is due to a disease, not genes, then criminals can be treated by surgical means. As a result, we can leave wonderful people for our future. From the eugenic point of view, Dr. Takano's research should get started immediately. Possibly this could be the greatest discovery since the invention of lobotomy surgery. If the causality between the infectious disease and one's nature could be established, this could be more than a Nobel Prize. Koizumi-sensei, thank you for giving me this chance. Takano-kun is a single-minded and passionate guy, but he is not good at dealing with people. He's been working on his research all by himself, but he has hit the limit and he needs help. Please, everyone, listen to what Takano-kun has to say. Oh, please don't, Sensei. We are the ones who should be thanking you for this opportunity. We're already willing to help him. Actually, coordinating with the territories of the society is a more urgent matter. I would like to thank you for giving me an opportunity to be involved in such a unique research project at this age. There's a knock on the door, and the sliding glass door opens, and the owner peeks in. Excuse me, there's someone asking for you. May I bring him? Someone? Who could it be? The owner whispers into his ear, and his face turns pale suddenly. But, please. No, I'll come with you. As Koizumi stands up, the footsteps reach the door. Sensei, I didn't expect you to be here. Koizumi-kun, long time no see. I have something I need to tell you today. Yes? If you need to tell me something, I'm all ears. Please. Koizumi is in somewhat of low status. Although he is already retired, he is still powerful enough to be influential. From his meek attitude, it's easy to figure out what kind of person this man is. The old man walks as he holds onto the bodyguard's shoulder. He has an expensive-looking cane in the other hand. He can't even walk on his own because of his old age, but his dignity and intensity are still very strong. I'll be direct. Your friend's research? You need to stop that. Huh? What do you mean? Koizumi-kun. He must take his knowledge of the Hinamizawa syndrome to his grave. Nobody should touch it. If anybody looks into it, if you poke a bush, a snake will come out. It'll be a huge snake, too. I can't just watch you get bitten by it. That's why I'm here to tell you something. Can your friends wait for a little? How about it? You want to have some drinks with me in a different room? Yes, I'll come with you. Koizumi realizes that this is pressure. He doesn't know which direction it's coming from, but some elders don't feel good about the research of Hinamizawa syndrome and are trying to stop him from backing up this research. Koizumi-kun, do you remember the Roko Bridge incident? This is just nonsense. Came here today expecting to hear a more objective side. Normally wouldn't come all the way here for something like this, but since Koizumi-sensei asked us, we didn't have a choice. This was really a waste of time, but in a way, it was a good thing we came. We were able to give you some advice. You know, if you are able to spend the rest of your life on some worthless research like this, why don't you take up bonsai? Bonsai is great. I agree. It's not healthy just to stare at formalin jars in this study. But it sure is a unique subject. If you want, I'll introduce you to the chief of a publishing company. The general public loves things like this, you know? They don't even try to hide their hostility. They laugh at grandfather denounce him and keep saying things to deny not only his research but his personality as well. If they are simply provoking him, any response would just prove them right. Grandfather tries to be a superior researcher as well as a proud existence. He's no longer trembling. On the contrary, he apologizes to them for taking up their time and tells them he has no intention of keeping them any longer. We'll give this article back to you. It'd be much easier if we could actually call this an article. One of the elderly gentlemen tosses the article back. Grandfather can't catch it. The article he worked so hard on falls to the floor and paper scattered all over the carpet. The elderly gentleman leaves the study without even apologizing for it. Everyone else follows him. As they leave, they step on Grandfather's article. Grandfather's expression doesn't change, but I see things warp. I see the wall behind Grandfather warp. I jump. I grab onto the elderly gentleman's leg. I don't hate him. If I were asked if I hated him or not, the answer would be yes, but that's not the point here. I can't stand this foot that steps on my grandfather's article. Don't step on it. Don't step on it. Grandpa worked so hard on it. Don't step on it. I just want to move the foot that is standing on the papers. The foot doesn't move no matter how hard I push or pull, as if it's rooted to the floor. Then I feel someone grabbing me from behind. It's Grandfather. Please excuse my granddaughter. Don't worry about this. We'll clean this up. Don't step on them. I'm telling you not to step on my grandpa's article. My scream doesn't mean a thing. They completely ignore my scream. They continue to step on the papers and leave the study. Only Grandfather and I are left. My grandfather is still grabbing the back of my collar. I don't have any words coming from my mouth, I'm just crying. But my father is determined not to show his emotions. He doesn't even move his mouth. So I believe that I have to cry for him. My grandfather slaps my face. Startled. I'm crying for him, so why does he slap me? Then I understand. Grandfather is the one who wants to cry, but he's enduring. So I shouldn't cry either. I wipe my eyes and my runny nose, and then I look at the papers on the carpet silently, just like Grandfather. Sorry, Mio. I don't understand why he's apologizing. I thought he was going to complain about their rudeness. If I had worked harder, this wouldn't have happened. Until today, you helped me so much for nothing. Sorry about that. How courageous he is. Even after that disaster, he is concerned about me. I shake my head and put my hands on the floor. I try to gather the papers and they begin to fall. My tears start to overflow again and blur the ink on the papers. They're all handwritten by Grandfather. He was so happy that finally there was someone who understood his research. He was so happy. He spent all night writing these, but they stepped on them. They might as well have stepped on Grandfather's spirit. I didn't work hard enough, and if I had done more, this wouldn't have happened. Sorry. So sorry. I'll work even harder. I won't give up because of something like this. I don't know if he said that to me or to himself. Don't worry. God is watching. I have to believe that I'll be recognized. That day will come someday. That's why I have to keep working. Grandfather says that all the time. But I know. God only plays with people's fate. He doesn't save out of goodwill. That's why he let this happen to Grandfather, though he's worked so hard and so humbly until today. That's why he let such a horrible thing happen to me when I was still an innocent what? Grandfather keeps repeating, but I know. God exists. The existence Grandfather believes in exists. But there's no mercy. He delivers an unreasonable fate and makes us call it a challenge. Can't tell Grandfather that, of course. I ask God once more like I did on the day of the thunderstorm. Why? Why can't you give Grandfather a fair evaluation for all his hard work? Grandfather tells me he'll gather up the papers, so I should put away the teacups. I nod silently and put the teacups that haven't even been touched onto the serving cart. As I push it out of the study, Grandfather tells me. He tells me to close the door after I leave. I always close the door when I leave. He doesn't need to remind me. But that's what he wants, so without saying anything, I close the door. Then, as I walk away from the study, I hear Grandfather sobbing. Tears fill my eyes again. Sadness and disappointment. I almost feel angry with myself not being able to do anything for him. And then I feel a cool breeze on my wet cheeks. It's the breeze coming from the cracked open window. The curtain is flapping gently. I hear the cry of the Higurashi. As I listen to them, I calm down gradually. If I can ease Grandfather's pain by crying, I'll cry in his place, but that won't help. On the contrary, he started to cry because I cried. I'm being useless here. I remember that day. I remember the reason why I'm alive now. If he hadn't come and saved me, I would have spent the days of my life as a piece of meat in the shape of a human lying in the corner of the bathroom. Grandfather saved me. He gave me back my rights. The right to walk. The right to stand up. The right to wear clothes. The right to eat. The right to speak. The right to think. In other words, the right to live as a human being. Grandfather took action right after the phone call from me. He found my house and found out which orphanage I was sent to. And after going through sloppy paperwork of the government office, then he saved me. Of course, he was working on his research then. He spent his precious research time to save me, a stranger. I vowed that if his heart failed, I'd rip my heart out and give it to him. But of course, his heart is fine. So he doesn't need a heart. He needs something else that's equally important. That's something only I can give him in this whole world. I clench my fists and hold them so tightly that my nails leave marks. I now know what I'm supposed to do with this new life as Takano Mio. I finally know. I know the reason why the new me was born. I know the purpose of Takano Mio. To fulfill a wish and weave a desired future. The strength of a string is how strong your will is. A noble and strong wish will come true. I thought I knew my grandfather's greatness, but I actually didn't know it all. For me to be able to help him, I have to reach his level. All the subjects lead to Grandfather. There's nothing I can ignore. To study hard is what I can do for Grandfather right now. I've been a teacher for a long time, but I've never seen such a hardworking student. You have learned not only academically, but socially as well. You made lots of friends. I have a goal that I can only reach by studying hard. Also, I know how powerless and isolated genius is. That's why I need to learn to socialize. That's not enough. I'm not even close to where I want to be. Entering college is only a step forward. What matters is what I learn there. I'm not even close. I'm not even close to being able to help my grandfather. I'm so proud of you. You can go to Tokyo University or Ochanomizu University or any college of your choice. Nothing will stop you. The most important thing for you is that the school will teach you what you want to learn. A big decision that inhibits my tiny soul. If my life is heavier than the earth, then my decision is heavier than the earth. Okay. Do I have what I need to be able to really understand the Hinamizawa syndrome and help my grandfather in his research? I don't need a compromise or an excuse. My goal is high and challenging. This isn't enough, not even close. My classmates look so stupid, as if they're winners in a life just because they entered the school. College is simply a place to learn what I need to know. If this self-proclaimed best school isn't worth my time, I'm not interested. I didn't expect a talented woman like you to come to this parasite research center. I'm sure everyone wanted you, huh? I assumed you are interested in something bigger? I want to study and research parasites. I've worked hard to earn the qualifications to study here. Aren't I qualified to learn here? Yes, yes. There's no reason why we would refuse someone who got the top score at the entrance exam. Welcome to the Parasite Research Center. People usually don't like our field. There aren't too many researchers. That is why there are still more unknown areas than in other fields. That's right. The world of parasites is an unknown world. Or rather, it's an ignorant world. An ignorant world where a preconception that parasites can't possibly control humans pervades. And those ignorant people laughed at my grandfather and stepped on his article. There's still many unsolved mysteries in the world of parasites, and I'm here to solve them. I came here to help the people who want to solve them. A wish that's guaranteed to come true is not called a wish. That is fate, not a wish. I weave fate. Fate is an absolute power to control people in the world, not just an individual. Learning isn't enough for me. I have to do research with my grandfather. I don't ignore the means to gain the help grandfather couldn't get. Grandfather's research doesn't end when it gets completed on a desk. It needs the help of lots of people present or to present it, so his great work will be praised. That's right. This is an association with only the top graduates of the Imperial University are allowed to join. Therefore, only 7 people per year are allowed to join, so it is a small group compared to the organization of alumni. However, solidarity is unrivaled. Thank you for inviting me to such a gathering. I'm honored. I would like to take the lowest seat. Oh my, we can't let someone with such accomplishments and experience sit in the lowest seat. I'm sure everyone will welcome you. The cabinet minister and several important government officials, companies and presidents and companies advisors will be here. They all need you and will provide all the help you need. Koizumi-sensei belongs to this association, right? He was my grandfather's best friend. What a coincidence. I see. I'm sure Koizumi-sensei will be glad to find out that you are joining. An isolated genius is useless. People live in a society. Isn't that right? A society is made up of connections between people. Nobody can ignore that. I do my best as an individual and gain the power that can't be achieved as an individual. I can't deny the connections with society. It's all for my purpose. My only wish is Takano Mio. That's right. I shouldn't spare any effort. My absolute will create an absolute future. No one can interfere. Nobody can stop me. I won't allow the die to roll a 1. I won't admit that diligent efforts can be erased by a mere train accident. I'm going to make a die that rolls 6. I won't entrust my die with God. I won't give in to luck. Only people who don't want to work hard pray to God. I don't trust God. I'm going to create results. My strong will create an absolute future that God can't prevent. This is different. A different way to become a god than the one my grandfather taught me. This is a way to become a god while still alive. When I realize it, I become free. Free from the sadness of losing my parents and the miserable life after that. Free from my grandfather's tears when his article was stepped on. That's right. I'll be above God. I'll be in existence that God's carapaces can't touch. I'll make people acknowledge grandfather's research. That's the future I wish for. The future I promised would come to pass. People will fight over grandfather's article. People will respectfully read the same article that was ridiculed and stepped on. Even if my grandfather dies before that day comes, I won't cry for something like that. Because grandfather already taught me, even after being buried, one can be revived. I'm going to complete his great work and the whole world will praise him. That's when grandfather will receive and become a god. He will be eternal. That's an eternal bond. A bond that not even a train accident can break. A bond not even a die that rolls 1 can bother. Since the day of the train accident, my die has kept rolling a 1. But I didn't give up. I kept working hard until today. I'll rise above the die. I'll decide what to roll on the die. I'll decide my own fate. I'll decide that with my unshakable willpower. Okay? When is the clinic open? Is there going to be air conditioning? I heard it'll open next month. I hope there'll be a young doctor. Hee hee hee. I heard some old ladies talking when I was going up the stairs to the shrine. The EDA clinic is already completed and it's waiting to be opened. The state-of-the-art equipment has been delivered and the research is waiting to be started as well. Of course, EDA is standing by at his best condition and he's almost as passionate as I am about the Inamizawa syndrome. The Mountain Hounds, the counterintelligence unit to support the research, are already stationed at the dummy company somewhere near Okunomiya. They are getting in touch with various public institutions. Everything is going well. The only thing to worry about would be the rumors about the Hinamizawa Dam construction plan. There's a rumor that says they plan to build a dam that will submerge Hinamizawa and the surrounding area. The plan came from the Ministry of Construction, and the pressure from the different directions is being applied. None of my contacts have much influence on the Ministry of Construction, so things aren't going well. Even if applying pressure doesn't work, there are other measures, so either way it'll come to a deadlock. I'm not being optimistic. I just know that's how it'll end. I'm going to conduct this research here in Namizawa. I'm going to accomplish that with my absolute will. That's why even if God rolls a 1 on the die and says he's going to submerge Namizawa, I will not be afraid. I won't entrust my die with God. I'm going to pick up the die and I'm going to roll a 6. I didn't come to this shrine to declare war on the god of this place. I came here because I know there's a great viewing spot up here. I walk by the shrine and head to the spot I was found last time I was here. It's a perfect spot to overlook the entire village. The strong wind reminds me I'm only at the starting line and there will be a headwind before I reach my goal. I overlook the village without faltering in the wind. Grandfather approached the Inamizawa syndrome from a medical point of view, but he also approached it from a folklore point of view as well. The strange beliefs of this village are proof that the existence of the Hinamizawa syndrome was already known in ancient times. So it'll be extremely meaningful to research it. My grandfather hasn't been researching for hundreds of years. But this place has been here for hundreds of years, and they've been living with the Hinamizawa syndrome for that long. The belief created by this place and the legend itself are the foremost researchers. It is simply stupid to call them just old folktales or nonsense. I've been researching them slowly, but they are indeed very interesting. No wonder grandfather was intrigued by them. The Hinamizawa syndrome has many interesting sides. It's just like a kaleidoscope. With the change of an angle, it grows It shows infinite glitter. It's so much fun to trace my grandfather's research. Finding the same research results as grandfather reminds me that I am indeed following in his footsteps, which makes me very happy. This shrine enshrines Oyashiro-sama, the guardian deity of this village. But this god the villagers admire is simply a delusion that was created by parasites. When I solve the secret and announce it to the world, the god of this place will be no more. That's the moment I take revenge on the one who put me through misery and tested my fate. I get it. This isn't just to make my grandfather's dream come true. This is also to take revenge for my unfortunate life. Back in front of the shrine, I see an offering box and I'm tempted to throw in some coins. But you put in coins to ask for mercy. I don't entrust my fate with God, so I don't need to give an offering. I'm going to unmask him. But until then, no Yashiro-sama is God. Okay, in that case, I'll show respect for now. As a declaration of war, I pull out a 10 yen coin from my wallet. The 10 yen coin I found in the telephone box had changed my life. If it hadn't been there, my life would have ended then. I'm grateful for at least that 10 yen coin. I'm not grateful that to the God enshrined at this shrine, though. But I haven't forgiven you just yet. I never expected anything from you, and here I am because of my own hard work. Even if you keep playing tricks of fate on me, or you keep rolling a 1 on the die, that won't bother me. With my strong will, I'm going to get what I want. My grandfather will be praised and become a god because of the research I'll do in this place. It will defeat the god of this place and become an existence above God. So what did I care about God, huh? Maybe because grandfather often talked about God. Here, this is the 10 yen coin you gave me before. I don't owe you anything anymore. You remain where you are and you keep challenging people in your ill manner. I'm going to challenge you now to defeat you. I offer a 10 yen coin as payback to God. For a moment, I don't understand what happened. The 10 yen coin was supposed to fall into the offering box, but how can I explain this? That's not what happened. I aimed right. Who could miss an offering box anyway? That's not it. Because the 10 yen coin stopped in midair. And if it got stuck in a spider web, and it bounced back to me and fell by my feet. It was as if the offering box refused the coin. Of course, an offering box is to respect God. But what I did was to challenge God. That means this is a jump. Because I thought I was the only one here. Anyone would jump to find that there's someone else standing there unexpectedly. Oh, dude, it's like, it's not Rika, it's fucking, what's her name? How long has she been there? It's like she came out of the shrine. A mysterious girl is standing on the other side of the offering box. She's wearing a shrine maiden costume, showing she must be one of the caretakers. But there's something else. She's not just one of the shrine people. She is the shrine itself. Because the girl is staring into my eyes. No, she's glaring. I smile fearlessly. I think she heard my challenging words to God, and she's wearing that expression on her face because of that. The words came out naturally. You are the god, aren't you? The girl doesn't nod, but I take that as a yes. What a contradictory emotion. I denied the gods of this place, and I'm even challenging its existence, yet I don't doubt that this girl is the god. The girl speaks. A strong will reinforces fate. That's right. That's what I say to myself often. I've never said that to anyone or quoted it from anything. So under normal circumstances, I should be surprised to hear this girl say that. But this girl isn't human, so I'm not surprised. I speak to her. God throws the die of fate and has fun with people depending on what he gets. But people have willpower. The stronger the willpower, the less chance of being bound by the result of the die. You see? People can gain a power that's strong enough to fight fate by working hard to the limit. Yes, I understand that very well. An unshakable belief defeats the die of fate. That's right. And that is the people's revenge against God who plays with the die. It's a song of praise of the people who discover their own fate by eliminating God's interference. I will not be denied by my sanctity for enduring all the unhappiness I worked so hard to get where I am today. Meaningful laughter comes from my mouth, but the girl's face shows a strong will. Her expression doesn't even change a bit. I understand very well. No matter how many times it repeats, this fate doesn't change. That is because of your strong willpower. That's right. The strong will reinforces fate. The strength in fate isn't bothered by the result of a die. That means it's an absolute future. You, a human, found the truth instead of us gods who have been living hundreds of years. I admit, your existence is close to being God. I'm honored. The girl glares at me with her eyes half shut. No, it's more like she is proclaiming something to me while showing her strong willpower. I won't be defeated. We always thought we couldn't win against you. That was why I surrendered. I abandoned hope and crawled around in the wheel of fate. But then I learned. The power to believe creates a miracle of fate. Are you saying your strong will is going to create a miracle that will defeat the fate that's created by my strong will? That's logical. What the fuck? Because that's the law of this world. A strong will makes a desired future possible. We won't be defeated by your strong will. That's fine. So you insist on being an old god. Try and see if your willpower will defeat mine. God tests people, yet people aren't allowed to test God. So I'm going to test you here. See if your willpower can defeat mine. Come on, go ahead, try it. There's clearly a declaration of war from me to God. This will be the start of my revenge towards God, who put me through so much misery. And this girl, this god, is accepting my challenge directly. I'm not as powerful as you are. I can't do as many things as you can. Even if my willpower is as strong as yours, you're still more powerful than I am. That's right. Dude, piano guy, go off, dude. That's right, I've gained overwhelming power. You have absolutely no idea what I've had to go through to gain that. You can't even touch me. I know. I know how powerful you are. Compared to yours, the power me and my friends command is insignificant. But I can choose not to give up. I won't admit my loss or give up until the day when your die rolls a 1 and my die rolls a 6. I'll prove the strength of my willpower by not surrendering to you for a very long time. When the pile is complete, we'll show up in front of you as equal opponents. And that's when this long battle of fate will come to an end. Fine, come on then. We'll see who has the stronger will. Whoever has the stronger will create the future. The future is desired by the stronger will come to pass. I will hold my ground. In my future, my grandfather's great work is praised when he becomes a god, becomes a god. And I take revenge on God for testing me and making me go through such unhappiness. Stupid little god. I'll show you. I'll drag you down from your pedestal. Is that the intro to chapter 8? Is that the intro? Jesus Christ, this is gonna be a ride, isn't it? It was kind of just like that last part was kind of just like, I have a stronger will than you. Oh yeah, well I cannot give up. Oh yeah, well freaking try it, bitch. And then she was like, no, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, okay. I don't know. I don't understand. Sure. I mean, I understand. Basically, they're saying that the reason why they couldn't win was because she has the strongest will. And, like, no matter what we did, our will didn't match up to hers because of how much misfortune she had to go through. Her will was, like, so intense. So, like, they need to not give up and, like, find a way to beat her will. But I feel like if they change her will to, like, I don't know. I feel like that's what they're gonna pull, right? They're gonna try to change her will. We're at an ending point here, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Just because it's if I go on, I won't end the video. But we began the thing. I'm sad because if I would have waited like a couple months to do it, we would have like made it through all of the. Because Steam like just released the last chapter, and like I feel like the next chapter is gonna come out soon. So it's whatever. But it's been an interesting ride the whole time. I'm guessing now that we're done with the backstory of Takano, because I pretty much know everything, right? She's, she went through misfortune, her grandfather got mistreated, and now she wants to become God, or wants her grandfather to become God, just because of how much misfortune, she kind of blames her misfortune on gods, which is interesting. So, we'll kind of see how that turns out. Here's my theory, right? My theory is that they're going to end it, and they're going to save literally everybody. Even the people well, everybody that Rika can save, because Rika's born in the period where like Tomitaki dies, and like there's people that die, and I feel like Rika's gonna save everybody and bring them all to the end, and that's the only way that she can continue, because she keeps her setting on her death, but if she doesn't die. Now, I'm curious about that death thing. Like, I wonder if she, like, lives past this, right? And then she just dies, like, she happens to be shot or something. Or maybe she, like, dies of sickness. If, like, she repeats with that, too. That would be weird. How does what are the laws of this repeatness? And then, so, can what's-her-name show herself to other people? Because, like, that's not explained. How did Takano see... freaking Oyashiro girl? I thought Rika was the only one that could see Oyashiro-sama. But now Takana's out here like, yeah, I can see her. And she can affect things in the world, like she can pause time. So I guess that's where the bullet came from, where because Keiichi was like killed and then like time like paused right before it happened. That was what's her name doing that. Odd. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please hit the like. I really appreciate that, especially on these, because you know they always get less views, but it's cool to play. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, and I'll see you whenever I record this again. Peace out, you guys.